I want to look at the political stability because a lot starts from the top. That dictates the judicial system, the security system, the mood of the population. And that's why I'm starting there. I want to understand the political infrastructure and the tone of that particular government and the opposition. So I'm looking at that from a macro level. And then from there, corruption's everywhere. So I don't want to be Pollyannish that there isn't corruption, but understanding the corruption index, because that will impact your day-to-day life. Are you in a country that you unfortunately have to bribe to get a little medical care? And again, that exists. Or is this a rule of law state, not on the pendulum where kind of a dictatorial rule of law, but does the justice system function? So I'd be looking at the legal system as well as crime statistics. And I think all of us do that when we're moving into a community, be it Northeast DC or Los Angeles. You're never going to eliminate crime, but what does that look like? I'd also look at, again, I alluded to medical care and what that access is. Are you going to a Denmark or Norway? And if so, what does that mean for a U.S. citizen? If you're in a little riskier geographic region, transit routes, roads, as we start thinking about how fast things could change. Say I've lived in the Balkans, quite frankly, those one-lane roads going up a mountain.
To get out.
When I talk about transit routes, it's also the border requirements. What countries are you arrayed against? And what type of documentation do you need? But also, how often has that shifted in the past year? Are there some arbitrary adjustments that might have occurred on a kind of a given crisis? So I look at the crisis tempo.
I tend to do this as a reporter. Even when I report on tourism from a conscious lens, I keep track of social sentiment. What are people saying online about certain big things that are happening in the news in that country? I look at locals' comments and obviously grain of salt, but to some extent, I think they really reflect how people feel about what's happening in the country or about the government. That would impact quality of life, I think.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. You have to be able to do that. It's akin to, and you've probably seen this when you get off the airplane and you're in with the cab driver and he or she has stories to tell. That's like the best nugget of information. Now, if you can also translate that into the social media sphere. And I think, again, I mentioned some more big muscle movement type things, but you're absolutely right. You need that fabric, that sense of mood, because that speaks volumes. And then it also suggests how dynamics might change on the ground, be it civil protest, civil unrest, strikes. So I think that's so important.
Are there regions that are a safe bet anymore?
I don't want to say the world is such a dangerous place. That's not the case. But you just have to be aware, flexible, and prepared.